Assalamu alaikum students, hope you are enjoying good health at your homes. Okay, in our today's online study session week 8 we'll start our chapter number 7, which is solutions and suspensions. Okay beta, you are well aware that we have completed the introduction to this chapter in our previous lecture, so we'll cover the next topics related to this chapter. Okay, number one is water as a universal solvent. So basically it is said that yes, water is a universal solvent because everything that is present in the universe, it probably dissolves, completely mixes in a water. So we can say that yes, water is a universal solvent. So here we'll see some of the examples. Number one is a salt, sugar, or either you take a sodium bicarbonate, which is commonly known as meta soda, in small proportions, and you will mix them in a glass of a water. Then yes, they will completely dissolve in the water and give us a clear solution. Secondly, when you take some water based components like milk, lemon juice, apple juice, or alcohol, they also get dissolved into the water completely. Thirdly, the food that we eat, it passes from our mouth, esophagus, into the stomach, and then the food, it get dissolved into the blood, and then blood, when it flows, circulates in our body, it gives each cell and each organ with the food components that are dissolved. So how does this food get dissolved into the blood? It get dissolved into the water first, and then it is absorbed into the blood. Next is the food that we eat, beta. It is not 100% used by the body, by the organs. Some part of it is also excreted out of our body, because some of it is not used by the body, it is not needed by the body. So when body forms such harmful substances, these substances, they first get dissolved into the water, and then they are excreted out as urine or perspiration. Next is water. As we have discussed many times, that water is given to the plants for their good growth. Similarly, together with the water, the minerals are given, the fertilizers are given. But since the minerals and the fertilizers, they are in the solid state, so how the plants will absorb them? Plants will absorb them when these minerals, they will get dissolved into the water. So plants can easily absorb them through the roots. Lastly, a large number of animals, microorganisms, plants, they live in the water as aquatic animals. So they also require oxygen, they also require carbon dioxide for the respiration. So how this gas is made available? These gases, these two major respiratory gases, they get dissolved into the water first, and then they are made available to the aquatic life. So as you have seen, these all examples, they prove that yes, water is a universal solvent. Next are the types of the solutions. Many types of the solutions are mentioned in your book. One is dilute solution, another one is concentrated solution. First of all, we'll see the difference between these two. So basically, dilute solution is a solution in which the quantity of a solute is very much low, and oppositely, concentrated solution is a type of a solution which contains a greater amount of a solute mixed in a solvent. We can take its example. For example, you take a pot of ink, blue ink, and a glass of water. You take one drop of ink and put it in a glass of water, so you will see a light bluish color of water. So this type of a solution is a dilute solution which contains only one drop of a solute. Similarly, concentrated solution is when you put the whole pot of ink and put it into a glass of water, so you will get a dark blue colored solution. That type of a solution is a concentrated solution, because as you have seen now, it contains greater amount of a solute. Next type is a saturated solution. This type of a solution is actually a solution in which the solute is way too much in a quantity that it is unable for the solute to get dissolved further. Means you can take an example like you have a full jar of sugar and you have only one glass of water. You put the full jar of sugar into one glass of water and try to mix it, then you will see that the sugar will not get dissolved into that one glass of water. That type of a solution, which will form a thick consistency, that type of solutions are known as saturated solution. And the best example of a saturated solution is actually a Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is known as a Dead Sea. Why? Because it consists of a large quantity of salt, and this water is not consumable, because when you will drink this water you will be dead probably. So Dead Sea is a Dead Sea. Why? Because it contains a large amount of a solute which is salt, and it is considered a saturated solution. And due to this higher quantities of the salt, things do not sink in the Dead Sea as well. That you can observe in the diagram as well. A person is laying over the water and enjoying playing with the balls, because it is not drowning. He is not drowning or sinking in the water due to higher concentrations of the salt. Okay, next is a phenomena, a term that is used with the solutions and suspensions, is solubility. So first of all, we'll define it. Solubility is actually you take a particular amount of a solute and you dissolve that particular amount in 100 grams of a solvent at a particular temperature. Then, and it will, when completely dissolved, then we'll say the phenomena is known as a solubility. And scientists have proven that the solubility of a substance, it increases with an increase in temperature. And how have they proven it? They have done an experiment using a salt known as copper salt. At a room temperature normally, which is 25 degrees centigrade, they have taken 100 grams of water as a solvent in a beaker, and they have mixed 24 grams of copper sulfate into it. It will completely dissolve. But when you will increase the amount of copper sulfate, like they have taken 60 grams of copper sulfate and they have mixed it into the same beaker, so they have observed that time the copper sulfate was not dissolved. It has formed a saturated solution. So what they have done, that they have put in that solution onto a flame at a higher temperature, and then they have observed that yes, copper sulfate has now dissolved due to increase in temperature and due to heat. So this is how it was proven that yes, solubility increases with an increase in temperature. Okay, next are some of the uses of solutions, that we are using number of components in our daily life, and these are actually solutions because they are the mixtures of one or two components. So number one is air. We have discussed it in a detail in the previous chapter, that yes, air is a mixture of gases. It is a solution of different gases that we use for our breathing. So it is a solution. Next are the fizzy drinks or the carbonated drinks. We have also discussed it earlier that carbonated drinks are the drinks into which the carbon dioxide gas is mixed into the water to get fizzy drinks, to get the cold drinks. So it is also a solution. Next is we use lemonade. We use tea in our daily routine. Lemonade is a solution which consists of lemon juice, sugar, water. Similarly, tea is a solution which consists of tea leaves, milk, water, etc. So yes, these are the solutions that we are using in our daily routine. Next is an ocean. As we have discussed that sea water is salty, ocean water is salty. So in the ocean, salts and other minerals are basically dissolved. So we can say that yes, so ocean water is also a solution. And lastly, last example is actually of a steel, which is used in robots, which is used in making kitchen utensils in buildings and cars. So steel is actually also a solution. It is made by mixing two other metals, which is carbon and iron. So that is why we say that steel is also a solution that we are using in our daily routine. Last is actually a term that is used differently from other solutions, and it is known as alloy. Previous solutions that we have discussed, they contain a mixture or a solution of a solid in a solid, solution of a liquid in a solid, solution of gas in a gas, or a solution of a gas in a liquid. But this is actually a solution in which two or more metals are mixed. So that is why it is known as a alloy. And the very best example of an alloy is the steel. As I have told you before, that steel is made by mixing two other metals, which are carbon and iron. So how a carbon and iron could be mixed, since they both are metals? So basically, carbon and iron, they are first melted into a liquid form, and then they are intermixed. Carbon is actually dissolved in the iron to get a third type of a metal, which is steel. So beta, that's it for today's lecture. Here are some of the questions that you have to answer on your neat notebooks. First, you have to read the whole chapter thoroughly from your textbooks, and then you have to write down these answers. And lastly, there are some of the video links for your video demonstration for your better understanding. That's it from my side. Allah Hafiz.